Big Boar Barbecue presents Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG-TV with Dan the Voice Diker, Billy Doc Niles, and Paul the Statman Riker. Brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem. Big Boar Barbecue, now that's a mouthful. By Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist, serving the La Crosse area since 1929. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning.
Hey folks, welcome in. It's Seven Rivers Racing KQEG-TV along with Paul Reichert. I'm Radio Man Dan Diker. Program being brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue. Again, thanks much for our feast we had at Oktoberfest Race Weekend. Fed the staff, fed a couple of our guests, and man, that was awfully tasty. I want to thank you very much. Have you turned your heat on yet?
Not yet.
I'm one of those that's going to wait till the very last, but the temperatures are going to start dropping this week. So you need to call Carey Heating and Air Conditioning. Like Billy says all the time, got to get that thing checked out. And all of a sudden, if your heater doesn't work and it's 38 degrees, you wake up one morning, don't say we didn't tell you so.
Yeah, you might have icicles in your house. Beware.
Yeah, that's not going to be good.
No.
I also want to thank Gino Collectibles and Peter Nykirk with the glasscover.com, also Epic Media, and Al Losi at fansarena.com. You need some apparel done up like this, or some hats, or some hoodies, or maybe some work smocks, get a hold of fansarena.com, and they will suit you up. As we've got, what, 2 more shows after this? Yeah.
Yes.
We're just going to keep highlighting the Oktoberfest. That's what we're going to do. We're going to give you highlights in the first segment, and we're going to show you some races in the second and third segments. Today, we're going to highlight that second feature with the Crosse Late Models that ran on Friday night, and Ron Vandermeer Jr., Mr. Unstoppable Mid-Am, who's breaking records all over the place. We're going to show you that Mid-Am race from Oktoberfest Saturday.
Yes.
That was a doozy, too.
Yes, that was.
You ain't starting with P12.
Yes.
You're doing something special with the field they had.
Oh, yes.
Well, let's get you started. Saturday of Oktoberfest Race Weekend, of course, it was the 38-lap Big 8 Late Model Feature. We're going to show you the last part of that right here as Jesse rolls that. Michael Bilderback quickly got away from the pack through several restarts, but late in the race, here comes Jacob Gady, who in qualifying earlier on Friday smashed against the turn 1 wall under the scoreboard and thought his whole weekend was going to be done. Not the case. He gets in the pursuit of Bilderback, uses the inside lane coming up at turn 4, and he takes the lead on lap 25 of 38. Gady attempts to pull away, but then you got a couple of cautions in there. Zach Riddle has a chance to maybe challenge Gady, gets around Bilderback. Riddle tried his best, but it's Jacob Gady. He knows La Crosse, and he picks up his third Oktoberfest Big 8 victory. John Reynolds Jr. ran 8th in the feature and would wound up with the big prize. He got his first championship since winning the inaugural Big 8 title back in 2005.
Wow, 16 years. I mean, you would think he would be up there with Bilderback and with Miller with like 3, 4, 5 titles.
Right. Long time.
Yeah.
That kind of shocked me when I saw that he picks that up, first one since 2005. Mid-Ams were on the track. We're going to show you that race later on the program, but Paul's got some highlights.
Yes, Titus Helgstad, the young man who won last year's race, got by Bobby Goodmeck on the mid-race restart, took over the lead. But then a little contact with Randy Humfeld, allowing Ron Vandermeer Jr. to move into second, challenge Helgstad for the victory. They got in a hard-fought battle before 7 laps to go. Vandermeer finally got that move around Helgestad to take the lead. Late race yellow, though, with 4 laps to go, led up to a 4-lap shootout. Vandermeer Jr. pulled away from that 3-way fight between Humfeld and Helgestad there and claims the victory and claims his 4th series championship and his 4th title in a row, the first man to do that in series history.
What a top 3 when you have the man that's the reigning champion. You have Helgestad, who was the reigning Oktoberfest champion, then Randy Humfeld, who comes back again. A couple more laps, and he may catch Titus Helgestad.
Yes, and I like that Mike Miller look-alike paint scheme on this car.
I hope he runs La Crosse with that next year. The Midwest Dash Series, wow, what a morning they had. We broke the news that they have a 4-person, don't want to use the term takeover, but a changing of the guard led by Phil Maloff, multi-time Midwest Dash Series champion and Oktoberfest champion. He and Greg Blount and Lyle Phillips, and the 4th name slips me right now, but they are now going to be taking charge of the Midwest Dash Series. Drew Jack's going to kind of go away in the background a little bit. And then he had Scott Soshalski. He was trying to become one of the first back-to-back Oktoberfest champions in quite a while. Scott wasn't going to get done. Kyle Stark and Phil Maloff, they were the 2 that we thought were going to get this thing done, and they sure did. But Man, Kyle Stark was on the charge, cuts a tire down about midway through. That allows George Sparkman to catch up to Sishelski. And the coolest thing there, not only does Maloff capture another Oktoberfest feature win and the 2021 series title, during the pre-race, George Sparkman got the quick time qualifying bullet. And he told us that car is bipolar. It does what it wants to do. Sure did. Last lap coming out of turn 4, the thing blows up. He's a smoking Mustang all the way down the front straightaway. The whole cockpit's full of smoke. And he told us after the race up on the stage, he said, I told you that car's bipolar.
For you history buffs, a la Darrell Waltrip in the 1985 Winston.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Nothing but a cockpit full of smoke. So George does have a new car. He said he's going to debut next year. Midwest Truck Series, man, I tell you what, they did not disappoint again.
No, a hard crash about halfway through the race. Unfortunately, you saw Cody Horsworth get on the wall there, but he did manage to make it through there. And late in the race, got to be a battle between Chester Ace and Cody Hubred for the race win. 5 laps to go. Hubert tried to close the gap on Chester Ace here to make things a little more interesting, but he came within the car length. But Chester Ace held off Hubert to claim the victory in that Midwest Truck Series race. And Natalie Decker made her return to racing, ran 16th finished 16th in the feature, and won actually her heat race.
That's kind of cool. She had a video up, and I was actually in the video. Picture of me was in there, and my voice was calling.
I heard you. Yes,
that's pretty sharp.
It was.
ARCA Midwest Tour had some prelim events to set the majority of the field for their 200-lap season finale on Sunday. Things got off to a Ty Majeski start, broke his 4th track record, a lap time of 18.476. Majeski took the ultimate challenge and tried to win Sunday's race from the back row. The payday if he wins, $20,000, 15 for the back row challenge, and 5 to win the race. Not going to happen, as we're going to tell you next week and show you some highlights of that one there, though, as Majeski falls to ultra-fast Casey Johnson. A little bit more ARCA stuff was going on Saturday.
Yes, of course, the top 16 were already locked in the show, and they ran their dashes to set the field. They had an odd dash, which was dominated by Mr. Red Hot this year, Mr. Luke Fenhouse. He won that odd dash, and then Dalton Zier had to hold off Wisconsin great and NASCAR Cape World Truck Series veteran Johnny Sauter to win the even dash.
So again, we're going to let you know next weekend what went on Sunday. We're going to have a lot of highlights from that one as well, kind of relive not only the ARCA 200, but we're going to show you maybe the Truck Series, a couple other races as we head into the final shows of the 2021 season. When we come back, they had 2 late model features on Friday. Wish they could have get them in on Thursday, but Mother Nature watched that up. We're going to show you what the second one will look like. That's coming up next on KQEG TV.
Would you like a job making people happy? Well, I believe we can help you out. Big Boar Barbecue and Catering has openings for both full and part-time work. Days, nights, or weekends. Need to be free on weekends or need to be done by the time the kids get out of school? We can work with that. We need hard-working, energetic people who love to make people happy because our food makes everybody happy. Join the team at Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16, West Salem. Now that's a mouthful.
Big Boar Barbecue.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like figuring out which remote turns the TV on, or the smell in the vegetable crisper that in no way can be vegetables, or finding your phone when you leave it on vibrate. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be this. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Welcome back, race fans. 7 Runners Racing KQEG TV brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue. Man, I wish we could tape this show like around 1 o'clock in the afternoon so I'd have time to go to Big Boar before I went home, because that really sounds, some burnt ends would really sound good tonight.
Anything from Big Boar sounds great.
And the garlic mashed potatoes. Voted the best caterer in the company in the area 7 years in a row. And of course, if you saw the spread, excuse me, we had on Facebook, that's why.
Yes, that's why they're #1 in the county.
And they were on time, too.
Yes,
always
they were
on time. 2 late model features determine the champion on Friday night of Oktoberfest Race Weekend. Of course, Nick Murgic, who's going to join us on the radio show this week, ends up taking his 2nd straight lacrosse championship, the late model championship, But late model feature number 2, kind of an interesting race.
Yes, it was. It was an interesting race. Steve Carlson started on the pole for that second race, and we've seen him win from the pole there before. And he would have to deal with his son Mike here in that feature there. Thought he might have a chance to win, but why don't we just let you take a look at that second NASCAR late model feature and see what happened.
Championships are on the line. It's all up to the king of the short track, Steve Carlson. Boy, Steve Carlson had a good jump right across the line. He'll get the whole shot.
Just kind of like the teacher teaching the student here right now.
Steve Carlson being chased down by son Mike Carlson. Jackson Lewis third. Fourth is Degenhardt. Then it's Bachman Mergic, who's already jumped in front of Wagner. Carlson running about a 22.55 that last time around. His son Mike, a 22.55. Nick Mergic in the number 12, trying to make it back-to-back championships here at the La Crosse Speedway. Goes to work on Steve Bachman as Degenhardt goes to work on Jackson Lewis. Nick Clements struggling, drifting backwards, Kevin. Jacob Gady going to work on Ryan Varner, trying to sneak his way into the top 8.
Meanwhile, Nick Mergic's looking to get himself into the top 5 as he's right behind Steve Bachman for that spot.
As Adam Degenhardt goes to work on Jackson Lewis, to the inside of him, he'll go Lewis all the way up against the back straightaway wall. Degenhardt into third. Lewis fourth, then it's going to be Bachman, Mergic, Wagner, Varner, and Gady. Mergic going to work on Jackson Lewis. Lewis starting to fade a little bit here. With 14 laps to go, 6 in, 14 to remain.
And Mike Carlson's all over Dad there as they go into turns 1 and 2. He should do a bump and run. Just do a bump and run.
Billy Doc, we've seen this many times over the past couple of years. How about son Mikey going to work on his dad, Steve?
It ain't too often you get to see Mikey work on Steve. It's usually the other way around where Steve goes to work on Mike and it's all over. We did note earlier this year that Mikey has been getting faster. He's been getting a little braver trying to take on the old man. Could this be the night he finally beats him?
Adam Degenhardt and Steve Bachman are slowly reeling in the Carlsons. Behind them, it's Bachman and Mergic. Lewis, Varner, Gady, and Wagner. Mandy McKinney going to let him roll around. Our 2021 NASCAR Rookie of the Year. McKinney is off at the halfway mark. You know, Billy, what could get really interesting here, we don't want to see any cautions, but we are under the halfway mark where if it were to happen, we would double them up.
That's definitely what would happen. And you know, you've been watching guys like Mergic try and pick his way through. Here comes Bachman in the 14 car. You're looking at Degenhardt, who hasn't had a feature win yet this year. Some hungry guys here trying to get themselves an Oktoberfest feature win.
8.5 to go. Steve Carlson's led since the outset. His son Mike about a half car behind. Bachman now over the back end of Adam Degenhardt as they roll out of 4. You know, Kevin, if you're Nick Mergic, you want to win the race, but you want to win the championship, and you don't want to do it in a wrecked car.
No, you know what? Well, you know what? I don't think he's listening to you right now. As he goes inside of Bachman in 3, he'll go for the 4th spot. He wants to win. Come on.
Mergick's got some quick ones in front of him, though. He's got to track down and pass Adam Dugganhart. And he's on the throttle. Mergick would love to finish with a podium here at Oktoberfest.
There he goes for third. Nick Mergick gets in front of Dugganhart, will take over the third spot. Now he'll chase on the Carlsons with 6 laps to go.
Whoever finishes in 7th position gets an extra $100 from Tin Can Roadhouse. We'll try to find out who got that $100 in the first feature. And whoever finishes in position 10 gets a Quick Trip gift card donated by Gretchen Clements and Century 21, as she has done all year. We greatly appreciate that. 4 laps away from a Nick Mergick back-to-back championship. Mergick to the high side. Does he have enough time to catch Mike and or Steve Carlson?
Talk about an exclamation mark if he could pass the king of the short tracks on the final lap to win that title.
Mergick's feeling it right now. All Steve Bachman can do is watch and celebrate being a new daddy with Kelsey and a strong second place amongst this field of cars and only his 3rd year running of a Crosse Late Model. Same story for Jeremy Wagner. He'll finish outstanding in 3rd. 2 to go.
Nick Mergick's right there behind Mike Carlson. He may just settle down there because he knows the championship's waiting for him when he comes back to the checkered.
Here they come down to the white flag. Carlson, Mergick looking to get to the inside. 1 more lap to go.
White flag is in hand. It is all over with for 2021. Your Oktoberfest feature winner, Steve Carlson. Mike Carlson, 2nd. Nick Mergick has made it back-to-back track championships here at the La Crosse Speedway.
That was one of the reasons I want to show that one there, because it's been a while since Steve Carlson has won an Oktoberfest feature.
Yes.
I was going to look back in the history books, but I know it's been a while. And the challenge you got from Mike, we watched that about the past 2 or 3 years. Mikey's program getting faster, getting more consistent, and it's always fun when you call a race when it's Mike leading Steve or Steve leading Mike, and you wonder what's going to happen when they start challenging each other. And that was a dandy right there. And I tell you what, the crowd enjoyed that too.
It was a great show. And congratulations to Mike, who claims the Chase Championship for 2021.
And the Fastmaster champ went to Mr. Nick Mergick. When we come back, we're going to go to Mid-American Stock Car Series. I've announced them on and off for many, many years. And, man, I'll tell you what, Ron Vandermeer Jr., I thought he was going to be sunk in this one. He starts 12th on the feature, and we're going to show you what happened. Coming up next on KQEG TV.
Are you tired of the typical fundraiser? Well, Big Boar Barbecue can offer you an alternative. How about a pork dinner? Pork, beans, and slaw. A complete meal. It's different, it's fast, and it's easy. And you don't pay for what you don't sell, guaranteeing you make a profit. So if your church, school, sports team, or special cause needs a fundraiser, call us today. We've helped all sorts of groups raise thousands of dollars. Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16, West Salem. Now that's a mouthful.
At Big Boar Barbecue.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like figuring out which remote turns the TV on, or the smell in the vegetable crisper that in no way can be vegetables, or finding your phone when you leave it on vibrate. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be this. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Welcome back. 7 Rivers Racing, KQEG TV. That's Paul. I'm Radio Man Dan Diker. Mid-American Stock Car Series feature at Oktoberfest. Man, I'll tell you what, that was a good field. That was a loaded field. Probably one of the biggest fields of stars we've had with the Mid-Am Series for quite a while. Randy Humfeld joined the fray, actually got quick time, took himself home a bullet. And your champion, read the stats off on Ron Vandermeer Jr. again.
Yes, let's see. He had started 12th. He has his 4th championship now, one behind Mr. Swan. And now he's the first driver ever in series history with 4 in a row.
Makes you kind of go, man, do I want to race that guy? But he's got to come back next year because you know he wants to beat Swanee's mark.
Yes, he does.
And it'd be interesting to see if Swanee builds a mid-am.
Oh, yes.
With the Super Lady's got the truck. I guess he's got a modified. He's got a sportsman as well. Well, let's show you Ron Vandermeer Jr. and his tricks of the trade, starting 12th in this one.
Good side-by-side battle. Vandermeer was credited with leading that lap. Now here comes Helgestad back on the outside. Going to be a real tight 3 and 4 again. Helgestad uses that outside line, maintains the lead, Dan.
Something that a lot of outside drivers don't like to do here with lacrosse because they don't like the outside groove. It's a very challenging one. And Mr. Steve Carlson, he'll take you to the birthday party any day on the outside.
And the veteran drivers here know that's a secret way to get around here to get that lead.
Titus Helgestad, one of the young ones here in the Mid-Am Series, could be one of those to watch as the years tick by. Door to door. 9 to go. Humpfeld. He's going to stay wherever Vandermeer is. One slip up, and Randy wants that 6 up front. How about the 29? That's been making some noise. Jake Schroffnagel, the number 4 position. Cormac back to 5th.
Boy, Helgestad's really holding Vandermeer really down tight in those corners there to maintain that lead. You see that? Vandermeer just trying to get some room.
Here comes Schroffnagel, door to door now with Randy Humpfeld. Look at the first 3 rows, they're all side by side. Toma and Cormac, Schroffnagel and Humpfeld. And Vandermeer has just taken over the lead with 7 to go. Does Titus Helgestad have anything left?
Helgestad was hoping to get to stay close to him, but it looks like Vandermeer's going to pull away. He really made it tough for Vandermeer to get by him to take that top spot.
Humpfeld back to 4th. Schroffnagel's on the move. Keeping the same line that Titus Helgestad is. Even to have a podium finish. Even to have a podium finish, Billy Doc Niles in Fest is an accomplishment in itself.
Well, most definitely, you get that hat, especially in a big feature like this. You're going to get that trophy. They're going to battle for that 3rd spot here right now. And I've been watching the Danny Gilster. Imagine what would have been if we would have had that accident.
Gilster working his way to the field. This is about where he picked it up. Remember, Billy Doc, a couple of years ago, he was 10 cars back and won this thing.
Well, it's not out of the realm of possibility with 5 laps to go. We've seen him after cautions like this before, but it's a tall task right now. He's sitting in 6th with 4 to go now.
Humpfeld still on the move. Question is, can he make a pass?
Here comes Humpfeld back.
Here comes Humpfeld, go to the inside. Here we go. Caution is out. Caution is out. 86 spins in 4. That's going to set up the showdown for the Mid-Am Series. 86 of John Furman did the loop-de-loop in turn 4 and saved it.
We've used up the double files, but that's not important because we're less than 10 laps to go. This will be a single file restart.
Well, Vandermeer Jr. will become a 4-time champ for a reason. He's got the horses and the car, and he's got the lead. How does Titus Helgestad challenge off of turn 4 where that green flag flies? Randy Humpfeld had almost got the pass of Schroffnagel in the corners, but he'll restart 4th. Jason Thomas sitting there in 5th. How about Danny Gilster? Spun around, went to the back. He's worked his way to 6th. A couple of years ago, Gilster 10 cars back, wins it in the closing laps.
You know, Gilster's like, at least I'm a little closer this time. I think I got a good chance at this one. But like I said, this can be a single file restart, so Vandermeer's going to control the field as they come back, and he gets to determine when they're going to really pick up the pace on that. And so Helgestad's got to be right there with him.
All right, the tower talking to the drivers, letting them know, hey, guys, this is a single file restart. This is the position you're supposed to be in. 1 to go, coming out of the quick trip flag stand. You know, Billy Doc Niles, those with experience here at La Crosse may have the advantage on this restart.
Yeah, I was watching the Gilster car working over Toma. I was watching the 6 car of Humfeld working over the 29. This is going to be an exciting 4 laps. Them first 7 or 8 cars all have a shot at this, especially if there's a mix-up.
They're all nose to tail. What a formation of the corners. We've got 4 to go. Back under green. Here comes Vandermeer leading him around. Vandermeer shot out of a rocket. Now Schroffnagel trying to size up Titus Helgestad, but he goes way high off of turn 2. That brings Humfeld in part of the mix.
Here comes Danny Gilser looking to go in the 5th.
3 to go. Schroffnagel still holding on to the outside rail. He'll get past Humfeld. He slows down and again at a turn 2. Humfeld's not going to make the same mistake again. Humfeld wants that 3rd position. 2 laps remain. Can Randy Humfeld slide in front of Schroffnagel? Ron Vandermeer Jr. this close to not only wrapping up the series championship, but taking home an Oktoberfest trophy again. What an Oktoberfest it's going to be for this guy right here. The first 4-time champion of the Mid-Am Series. There he is, Ron Vandermeer Jr. Helgestad will wrap up second. Randy Humfeld will finish on the podium.
There it is, Ron Vandermeer Jr. getting it done again, starting P12. And I was up on the tower saying, man, this is going to be probably the hardest race he's ever run. If you see who was in front of him, Titus Helgestad went down to the Dells and took one of the Midwest Regional Championships last year. Wins it all last year at Oktoberfest. Randy Humfeld's back out. Gutnick's are back. I mean, that was a great field.
That was a great race there with all those Mid-Am stars. You could pay any amount of money to see a race like that.
Well, you'll see him again next year at Oktoberfest.
Yes.
Going to do it for the program. Listen to the radio show Saturday at noon for those watching Thursday and Friday, because Ron Vandermeer Jr. is going to be joining us, as well as Nick Murgic and Cheyenne Stanfield. For Paul and Doc, I think Doc's still laying on the floor. I think he passed out when he walked in the studio, and Jesse's behind the curtain. I'm Radio Man Dan Diker. Watch the Facebook page. I went through a couple of contests up there before the end of the month. Thanks for joining us right here on KQEG TV.
You've been watching Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV with Dan the Voice Diker, Billy Doc Niles, and Paul the Statman Reichert. Brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem. Big Boar Barbecue. Now that's a mouthful. By Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist, serving the La Crosse area since 1929. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning. Thanks for watching Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.
7 years and counting. Hi, Jerry here. For 7 years in a row, Big Boar Barbecue has been voted the best barbecue and caterer by the people of La Crosse County. I am humbled by your praise. We work our hardest to provide good food and service to any size group, from a small lunch to large wedding reception. We can provide full service or just drop off the food for you to serve. But dates are filling fast, so call us today. Big Boar Barbecue and Catering, Highway 16 West Salem. A delicious mouthful.
At Big Boar Barbecue.